Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about DNA methylation, a very important epigenetic stable marker. So before moving on to this video, for those who are coming for the first time, please do subscribe and watch other videos and share with your friends and groups. Thank you. So we'll move on to this today's video that is called as DNA methylation. So before moving on to this, what is this DNA methylation and why is it very important? So the name itself says DNA methylation. Methylation is nothing but the process of adding methyl groups to the DNA strand is called as DNA methylation. So split the word methylation, the process of adding methyl group is called as methylation. Where is it adding? It's adding to the DNA strand. Hence it is called as DNA methylation. Now why is it very important? So I said it is called as a stable epigenetic mark. So what is that epigenetics and all those things? A simple example. If you take any cell, let it be hair cell or a skin cell or cell of the blood or the cell of a liver or a gonads, sex cells. If you take any cell, or the number of genes or the genomic information is same in all the cell. Whichever type of cell, muscle cell, nerve cell, hair cell, skin cell, whichever type of cell you take, the genetic information remains the same, but the function varies. The cell that is present in your hair produces keratin. The cell that is present in your blood is responsible for production of hemoglobin. The cell that is present in your muscle or a skin, it is responsible for the production of melanin, skin pigment. How does it differ? They have same genetic information, but the production, the process of genetic expression varies. That is because of a process called as epigenetics. So what do we study? What does this epigenetics say? If you take a cell of a hair, the gene that is responsible for keratin production alone is activated. It has the genetic information to produce blood, to produce melanin, to produce insulin, but all the other genes that are not responsible for hair growth is reduced or it is suppressed. Similarly, if you take a cell from insulin or pancreas, it's the gene that is responsible for production of insulin is activated. The other gene, maybe production of melanin or for production of dopamine, is all silenced or it is expressed. So if you take a cell from a skin, gene that is responsible for production of melanin, the skin pigment, is activated. Why? Whereas the gene that is responsible for keratin production or insulin production is silenced. So this is called as epigenetics. Each cell has its own signal. What should it be produced? What protein should it be produced? What gene should be expressed? So how is that possible? So very important, one of the best step is DNA methylation. This DNA methylation guides it which gene should be activated in which organ or in which cell type, and which gene should be reduced or which gene should be silenced. So all this function is produced by so many other types like histone modification. There are many other examples. Very good example is DNA methylation. So this DNA methylation, as I said you, it is nothing but the addition of methyl groups on the DNA strands. So where does it add? Does it add to the entire DNA strand? No. So based on the molecular conformation, the chemical bond, it favors mostly on the cytosine residue. So we all know DNA is made up of nitrogenous bases, AGCT, and sugar group, sugar bases, and the phosphate group. So here what happens in the cytosine group? So the methyl group gets added. So this is my methyl group. This methyl group gets added to the cytosine nitrogenous base because of the chemical structure, the bond formation. So it favors the cytosine nitrogenous base, and it doesn't go and add to all the cytosine residue. There's one more condition. This cytosine residue should be attached to guanine base. So to this dinucleotide base, this methyl group goes and adds. So there is a phosphate group, phosphate bond present in between two bases. So we call it as CpG. Remember this. So this methyl group is added to the CpG nucleotide bases, dinucleotide, because there are two nucleotides attached and the phosphate bond is present in between these two, or phosphate group is present. So we call it as CpG dinucleotides. So henceforth we will be using this term CpG. this methyl group is added to this CH3. This methyl group is added to the CpG dinucleotide bases. Is this clear? This is the first point. So this is the condition. So let's move on to the what furthermore we will move on. So this DNA methylation is mitotically inheritable. What do I mean by mitotically inheritable? If the parental cell has this methylation group, when it undergoes cell division and DNA replication, even the daughter strands will get this methyl group. How is that? Let us see. So before moving on to this, I would like to give you two very important enzymes that is responsible in DNA methylation. That is de novo methyl transferase. De novo methyl transferase. We write it as DNMT. This DNMT has two classes, DNMT3A and 3B is one set, and DNMT1. So DNMT1, de novo methyl transferase. The enzyme name itself says it transfers the methyl group de novo, in the sense in that particular place. So de novo methyl transferase are the enzymes that help in DNA methylation. There are two sets or two classes, DNMT3A and DNMT3B. That is the first group. DNMT1. This is the second group of enzymes. So these two enzymes are very important. De novo methyl transferase. So if I take two strands, two parental strands, two DNA strands I am taking. So here there are CG. Similarly, there are over the bases. We concern only with this. So here you can see the attachment of the methyl group. I said to the cytosine, it attaches in the fifth carbon atom, 5' called fifth carbon atom. So the methyl group is attached to the two parental strands. Now when DNA is undergoing replication, what happens? This strand again produces one daughter strand and this strand produces one daughter strand. But the parental strands will be methylated because that residue is carried over as such. So this residue is carried over as such, and when after the cell divides or after the DNA divides, one strand becomes two strands and only one of the parental strand is methylated while the daughter strands are not methylated. Such a condition is called as hemi-methylated strands. Hemi in the sense half. So out of 4 strands, only 2 strands are methylated, the other 2 strands are not methylated. So to overcome this, here comes the picture of your enzyme DNMT1. DNMT3A and 3B helps in methylation of the parental strands. During the initial phase, they help in methylation of the parental strand. Their role is over. After the strand gets replicated, when the cell is about to divide, this enzyme, very important enzyme, comes into a picture. De novo methyl transferase 1 enzyme. This comes and methylates both the daughter strands. It helps in methylation of hemi-methylated strand. Now the daughter strands are also methylated. Is this clear? So initially what happens? Only the parental strands will be methylated. When the cell is about to divide, DNA replication will occur. So after each cell cycle, the number of DNA strands will increase. Since only the parental strands are methylated, now to methylate the daughter strands, this enzyme called de novo methyl transferase 1 comes and it methylates the daughter strands also. So now what do we mean? It is similar to that of the parental strand. In parental strand, both the strands are methylated. Even in the daughter strands, both the strands are methylated. So they are mitotically inheritable. Now this goes to one cell, this goes to one cell, two cell mitosis. Again when this cell divides, again two more strands, again two more strands, again for this cell cycle goes on dividing. So after each cell cycle, after each DNA strand gets replicated, this enzyme will come and methylate the daughter strands if the parental strands are methylated. So this information, this methylation information, it gets carried on over each cell. So that is the meaning of mitotically inheritable. So if my ancestral cells add this information, which gene is methylated, which portion of DNA is methylated. Same region, same cell in the same gene, even in my cell, it will be methylated because it is mitotically inheritable. This information gets on carried over. So this is the first step or the first character or property. Another very important property is it is mutagenic. This leads to mutation. How does it leads to mutation? I will explain now. So now you know what is CpG, cytosine and guanine with the help of phosphate group is present. When this undergoes DNA methylation in the presence of an enzyme, methyl transferase, CpG, it gets methyl group in this cytosine residue. This is called as methylation in the help of enzyme methyl transferase. This cytosine is highly unstable, so they are very prone to mutation. What happens? They lose an amine group. This cytosine, it loses an amine group and it forms thymidine. So if you take the structure of cytosine and thymidine, and if you check these two structures, the methylated cytosine and normal thymidine, if you see the two structures, the only difference is an extra amine group is present over here. So now it undergoes deamination. Removal of amine group. Amine will be removed, and wherever C is there, in cytosine is there, so when amine group is released, it becomes thymidine. So the change in nitrogenous base occurs. So whenever this change in nitrogenous base, what happens? That is nothing but mutation. So this leads to mutation. So we know mutation is nothing but sudden inheritable changes. So this change is sudden. So this DNA methylation is prone to mutation because of deamination. The methylated cytosine, not the normal cytosine. Methylated cytosine becomes thymidine. Because it's a highly unstable structure, it becomes immediately thymidine. So this is mutagenic also, but not in all cases. There should be some factor to trigger this process, so it becomes thymidine and becomes mutated. So there are two very important characters. They are mitotically inheritable and they are mutagenic. Now, what is it important? Why is it important, and what are the importance of this DNA methylation? This DNA methylation, it silences or it suppresses the gene activity or gene expression. So if I take any gene, like you would have studied lacoperon and all those, tricoperon and all those. So for those who don't know lacoperon, please refer to my other videos where we have discussed about lacoperon and all those things, and also about your replication, all those things, central dogma, all those we have studied. Those are all the basic concepts. So if you take any gene for hair, keratin, melanin, hemoglobin, any gene, it has the main region called as your promoter region. This region is very important. Then comes your action gene sequence. What is the function of this promoter region? It, for example, we know central dogma of molecular biology, where DNA gets transcribed into RNA by a process called as a transcription, and RNA gets translated into proteins. And these proteins are the one that is like your keratin and all those are proteins. By a process called translation. For these transcriptionary factors and translationary factors to recognize the gene sequence, they require something called as promoter. So wherever this promoter is there, this transcriptional factors comes and recognize, and then they move on to form RNA, and from RNA protein. So this promoter is very important in that case. So now when I methylate this promoter, so if there may be some C G groups over there, so when I methylate that promoter region, the transcriptional factor cannot come and bind to this promoter region, or this transcriptional factors cannot identify this promoter region because there is a hindrance, there is a substance like methyl group. So it is an obstacle. It cannot come and bind to the promoter region, and it cannot read the sequence. Hence what happens? From DNA or mRNA will not be produced, from mRNA proteins will not be produced. As a result, this entire gene gets suppressed. Their activity gets repressed. They will not be activated. So this is called as gene silencing. Gene silencing. We are not allowing this gene to be expressive. We are not allowing this gene to get expressed. So this is called as gene silencing. This DNA methylation helps in gene silencing. So if you add a methyl group for biotechnological aid, we need to silence so many genes. There are so many genes that we will experiment, research works are going on. We need to silence some genes. So what do? We methylate the promoter or some portion of the gene. So what happens? The transcriptional factors cannot come and bind and they cannot identify the sequence. Hence that entire gene gets suppressed. So this is the main function of DNA methylation. It helps in gene silencing. How does it occur? There are two processes how methylation occurs. That is a primary mechanism and secondary mechanism. So most common is the primary mechanism. So if this is two DNA strands, it is having some promoter region and some gene is there. So when I methylate this group, when there is DNA methylation has occurred, CH3 has occurred now. This CH3, once the methylation occurs, there are certain type of protein called as methylated proteins. C methylated protein 1, C methylated protein 2. C stands for cytosine. So CMP1 and CMP2. These two proteins are signaled after methylation. So these two proteins, they come and bind to the methylated DNA strands, CMP1 and CMP2. These proteins have two domains. They have DNA binding domain, DNA binding domain and transcription recessive domain. So these proteins, CMP1 proteins, they come and bind to the DNA strands where methylation has occurred, CMP1 and CMP2. How do they come and attach this? They have two domains. That means they have two portions. One is for the DNA strands to bind. So they come and bind with the help of DNA binding domain. These two are the DNA binding domain. So in this domain, they come and with the help of this DNA binding domain, they land on the DNA strands and they bind to the DNA. There is something called as transcription recessive domain. So there are certain domain over here which are transcription recessive domain. These domain recruit other factors that will recessive the transcription process, that will not allow the transcription process to continue. So they will recruit, they will attract other proteins. They will recruit other proteins, and this structure is called as recessive chromatin structure. Recessive chromatin structure. Why it is called as recessive? Because it will not allow the transcription process to undergo. So I will repeat it again. So first what happens after the methylation? There are two important proteins like CMP1 and CMP2 proteins that comes and binded to the methylated site. So then there are two domains, as I said, DNA binding domain and transcriptionally recessive domain. So this DNA binding domain is helpful in binding to the DNA strand. This transcription recessive domain, it is nothing a space that allows the other proteins and other factors to come and bind. So it recruits or it attracts all other factors and other proteins that will condense this chromatin structure, that will change this chromatin structure, this gene or this strand structure, and it will not allow the transcription to occur. So when the structure is condensed, transcription becomes inactive. You would have studied there are two types of chromatin, heterochromatin and euchromatin. In euchromatin, the strands are very loosely packed and they're lightly stained, they are transcriptionally active. While in heterochromatin, they are tightly packed, they're condensedly packed. They stain, very dark stain they produce, and they are transcriptionally inactive. So all this I have discussed in another video called as a DNA packaging. So please go and refer that for the basic structure of packaging. So when the chromosome or the chromatin are condensed, they become transcriptionally inactive. These proteins, by the mechanism, primary mechanism, they reduce the chromatin and they make the transcription inactive. So as a result, the gene sequences will not be activated. This is the primary mechanism where the chromosomes are condensed or reduced into a chromatin recessive structure with the help of these proteins. Is this clear? It's the primary mechanism, most common, most abundantly seen also. The secondary mechanism is very simple, as I said you, the strands where the CH3 groups are there and without this cannot, so the transcriptional factors cannot come and bind because of the presence of this methyl group. So the transcriptional factors or translational factors, they cannot come and bind or they cannot recognize that sequence because of the presence of methyl group. So that is nothing but the secondary mechanism. So this is the mechanism how you silence the gene. So this is the mechanism of DNA methylation we studied. We studied so far what and all are the enzymes involved, what and all are the characters like the mitotically inheritable character, mutagenic character, how it is inheritable and how it is mutagenic, all those we have studied in depth. So we'll move on to another very important function of this DNA methylation is called as X chromosome inactivation. X chromosome inactivation. If you take a male cell and a female cell, male cell will have a chromosome XY chromosome and the female cell will have XX chromosome. So here we don't want male chromosome or the male cell, we are concerned over the female cell. All the female cells will be having an additional X chromosome. There will be 2 chromosome, XX chromosome in all the female cell. So what do you mean by 2 sets of X chromosome? They have 2 sets of gene. So whatever gene is present in this first X chromosome, same set of genes are also present in the second chromosome until and unless mutation has occurred. In a normal cell, there are 2 X chromosomes and both the chromosomes have the same genetic information. So what will happen if both the chromosomes are active? There will be cancer production, more hair growth, more protein deficiency, or more disorders will be there because both are same gene and both the genes are activated for the same function. So what happens? It leads to so much of abnormalities. So as a result, the function of one chromosome should be reduced. So I cannot just take away this X chromosome. I can't delete the chromosome. So what as nature has been adapted, see the nature has undergone such a well adaptation. All the genes of one chromosome are silenced. Genes are present. Genetic information is present, but they're not activated. They do not undergo transcription, translation and all those things. They are silenced. They are inactivated. So of only one chromosome. So this process is called X chromosome inactivation in females. And how is this achieved? By our own process called as DNA methylation. So because of this DNA methylation, the genes of one chromosome is completely silenced or inactivated by a process called X chromosome inactivation. So as a result, only one functional gene is there. So to avoid the chromosomal aberration. Is this clear? Very important function. Now what will happen if DNA methylation doesn't occur? There are many aberrations that might occur. Very important one is your cancer. If this DNA methylation is occurring in a higher rate or if the DNA methylation is occurring in a very lower rate, if it is not occurring or it is occurring at wrong places, what will happen? The gene gets turned off. And what will happen, or if it doesn't occur at all the cells will be active, all the genes will be active and it leads to cancer. So DNA methylation, improper DNA or aberrant DNA methylation leads to cancer. Is this clear? So we're moving on to the next part. Where does this DNA methylation occur? This DNA methylation occurs in CpG islands. I said what is CpG? CpG is nothing but cytosine and guanine biphosphate group. When there are long sequences of CpG nucleotides, like more than 200 sequences are there. So that group is called as CpG island. Island is nothing but small region, right? So it occurs in CpG island, first position, first place. Next is intergenic region. If there are two genes, let me say this is gene 1 and this is gene 2. I want gene 2 be activated in my hair cell. I want gene 1 to be activated in my skin cell. So they have the common promoter. They have common promoter. What will happen if it is activated? If promoter is activated, the transcription will carry on and both the genes will get activated as a result. So I don't want that to happen. There are so many genes, right? So there are certain we represent like this. So So methylation, we put a head to tail structure and we color. This is methylation and this is an unmethylated region. So when you methylate the intergenic region, the region between two genes, your transcription will stop over here. So only this gene will be activated. So similarly, vice versa, there will be promoter in the opposite strand also. And if you don't want this gene to be activated, you will methylate over here. And when the transcription is occurring, this gene gets activated and this gets blocked. So that is the second. It is a place where you can find this DNA methylation to occur in nature. CpG island, intergenic region, and the last place where you can find is your repetitive elements. Very important region. Repetitive elements, the name itself says these are short DNA sequences which are repeated. Short repetitive sequences are called as repetitive element. Very characteristic function of this repetitive element is they are go on jumping from one chromosome to the other chromosome. If for example this is one chromosome and this is my second chromosome, if these repetitive elements are present over here, they are not stable in this place. They move from this, they cut their portion and they jump and they move on to the other region of the chromosome. So hence they are also called as jumping genes. I hope you would have heard all these things. They are also called as satellite DNA. They are also called as transposons. So basics should not be forgotten. So these repetitive elements are also called as jumping genes because these genes are not stationary over this place. They keep on jumping from one chromosome to another chromosome. So once what happened when they are removed from here and they jumped over here, that region of the gene will be affected. The function of this gene or this function of the entire chromosome will be affected and this leads to mutation. So because they come over here, whatever genes are there, they will be altered. So as a result, it leads to mutation. So what is the function of DNA methylation over this repetitive element? Let us see over here. So if you see the structure of this repetitive element has a two genes and two promoters, two strong promoters. These promoters are called as LTR, long terminal repeat. Long terminal repeats. These two terminal regions are the promoter. They have repetitive sequences and they are very long and they are also promoter. Hence we call them as long terminal repeat. Terminal. So in biology, always I advise you is split the word. Whatever scientific terms or is it, if you split it itself, you'll get the meaning there. Methylation means process of adding methyl group. Long terminal repeats. They are long, they are present in the terminal end and they have repetitive sequences and they are also promoter. And they have two proteins and this protein first they have two genes and this gene is responsible for production of a protein called GAG protein. The second gene is responsible for the production of Pol protein. Pol and GAG. So this is on all repetitive elements, transposon or jumping genes. We are studying about that. So I am repeating again, they have two promoters and they have two genes. One gene codes for GAG protein, the other gene codes for Pol protein. When this GAG and Pol protein are produced, when these genes are activated and when they are produced, this transposition will occur. What do you mean by transposition? They will change their position from one chromosome to the other chromosome. So they will cut this much region and they themselves will go to another chromosome and they will stick to that chromosome. This is called as transposition. When these two proteins are produced and the two genes are activated, GAG protein and Pol protein are produced and this entire set shifts. It jumps to another chromosome. So what happens is a mutation will occur. Now when I methylate these strands, what will happen? I said methylation will lead to gene silencing or gene expression. When methyl groups are added to this region, these proteins will not be produced because these two genes will not be activated. These two genes will be silenced. because transcriptional factors cannot combine, bind, transcription will not occur, translation will not occur. As the result, two genes will be switched off, two genes will be silenced, they will be inactivated. When the genes are not activated, the two proteins will not be produced and this jumping will not occur. So mutation can be overcome. That is the significance of this DNA methylation in repetitive elements. So is this clear? So DNA methylation is majorly found in nature to occur in three places of position: CpG island, intergenic region, intergenic sequences, and over the repetitive elements. Moving on to the last topic, we are coming to the end of this topic called as DNA demethylation. So you should be able to say me the meaning of this demethylation. It is just the opposite of methylation. Methylation is addition of methyl group. D means removal. Demethylation is nothing but removal of what? Methyl group. So split this word. D, removal, methyl group. So the process of removing methyl groups from DNA is called as DNA demethylation. Why should the methyl groups be removed? So for example, if methyl groups are added in a wrong place, it leads to chromosomal mutation, variation, disorders. So methyl groups has to be removed by nature also. And all this methylation and all those things will happen in the gastrula stage and the blastula stage itself. Whatever I mentioned, that X chromosome inactivation, this addition of methyl groups, all this will occur during the embryonic development. For example, after each and every DNA divides, replicates, there is something called as DNA proofreading. For example, if a wrong methyl group has been added, then the methyl group has to be removed. So that is the reason why there is a process called DNA demethylation. Or even for the research purpose, if I want to activate a gene, so if the gene has been methylated, I want to activate it. So I will remove the methyl groups by experimentally purpose in the lab. So this process is called as DNA methylation. So there are two methods of removing. One is your active method of DNA methylation, and the other one is passive method of DNA methylation. In active method, what I do is I cut the bond, I break the bonds between the methyl group and my cytosine group, so the methyl groups can be removed. So the bonds are broken. With the help of enzymes and other proteins like TET proteins, aid proteins, aid proteins, TET proteins, enzymatically the bonds are removed and methyl groups are removed. This is called as an active form of DNA methylation. Next, what do we do in passive form? In passive form, we will not allow this DNMT1 enzyme to be active. We will make it unavailable. So what is the function? After the DNA strands, the methylated DNA strands have been replicated, they form daughter strands. The daughter strands also should be methylated. For that, which enzyme is responsible? DNMT1 is responsible. If I cut that enzyme, if I take away that enzyme, or if I inactivate that enzyme, what will happen? The replication will occur, but the daughter strands will not be replicated. Will not be methylated. Only my parental strand, only one strand will be methylated. Again, when this divides, again when that cell divides, again when cells divide. So when this process goes on happening, after hundreds and hundreds of cycles, only one strand, only one parental strand, initial strand will be methylated, while other 99 strands will be unmethylated. So it dilutes the methylation process. This passive form dilutes the methylation process. So I will inactivate this DNMT enzyme so that it dilutes the process and it stops the methylation. So this is the process of passive form of DNA demethylation. I hope this entire concept and entire video was clear. We studied about DNA methylation, the enzymes involved in it, what is the importance of it, significance of it, mechanism involved, and the regions where it is involving, and if it doesn't happen, what will happen, the importance, and again DNA demethylation. So I hope you are completely clear with this. If you have any doubt or if you need any extra supplementary material, please contact me through the email ID that I mentioned in this YouTube or the channel, the videos details I would have mentioned my email ID. Please feel free to contact me for any other assistance you require. Do share my YouTube videos with others, your friends, and watch the other videos also. and kindly subscribe, share, and like and comment. Thank you.